to Christmas in July. I have, and this doesn't look like much, but this is 24 little books, and I got them from Dollar Tree. Sorry, I had my cup sitting here. I've got some water. This is what I like to do with them. Decorate them. I cover them with book pages, put a little stamp on it, little bling, little lace, and they're good to go. I always sell out of these. They're so fun. And I do put book page on both sides and ink around them. So these are at Dollar Tree right now. 3 in a pack for $1.25 in the back to school section. So I bought 8 packs. So for $8, I've got 24 notebooks. Is that right? Yeah, I think it is anyway. So I tore up my, I'm not going to do these all with you today, but we will do one together. It's super easy, and we've done this together before. I have my little love stamp. This is a close to my heart. Don't know the set because I don't have it. Let's see. Let's see. It's this one. It is D1682, Love Right Now. This is one of those that they did where they had the Cricut, and you would get the Cricut with it was on the Cricut cartridge that matched these. I have all those. I never use them. I have never used them. I spent so much money on this stuff, and the Cricut is just, I don't know. I know some people love it, but I just don't have the patience, and I don't have a place to set it out. So when I get my studio back and I have a place that's dedicated for the Cricut, I may go back to using it. But I think it would be great for like making stencils and stuff too. Anyway, yeah. I wanted to show you one more thing that I found, and I thought this was the cutest thing. This is, well, they're not 3x5. They're 3x5. 3x5 index cards in a stack, a hole punched in the corner with a ring, and it has this piece of 1/4 inch elastic that is just held on with an eyelet. How easy is that? We are going to be making one of these in the near future because I think this would make a cute little journal. I really like it. Now this is plastic, I think, plastic coated. Yeah, the back and the front. Like those thin, flimsy school notebooks, kind of plastic. That's what it feels like. But yeah, I think that would be fun. So of course, you know what I did? The first thing I did was go on Walmart and get me some elastic. Now, they're out of white. Okay, well I got black. It's a little bit bigger. So this is 1/4 inch, which is 4/16. So this is probably 3/16. I'm going to look on Amazon because I really like the pink. And you know me and pink. Anyway, that we will revisit that later. Let's get to this. So I have harvested. I've been watching Natasha over at Treasure Book harvest her book pages, and it cracked me up because she said she was dismembering them, and then she said, no, I shouldn't say that. I was laughing so hard. But anyway, I took apart my this is a Dickens book, and it's, what do you call it? The Pickwick Papers. Yeah, that's what it is. So we need 2 of these, and I like to have just a torn edge. So I'm going to turn it with the beveled side in, and this will give me a good edge right here. And then we'll do the same thing on this one. I'll just do it this way. And that will give me the front. Lots, I haven't been saving these, but I'm starting to feel guilty about throwing them away, so, we'll see. All right, I'm using my Fabri-Tac. You can use whatever glue you want. If you feel it's necessary, you can put some wax, paper, or parchment between the cover and the first page, because sometimes it does bleed over. I usually just check to make sure that the pages aren't glued to the cover after I get this on. So I go around the edge and then I kind of do circles in the middle. It's not rocket science, guys. I know a lot of people are afraid to get started on this kind of stuff, and I was just like that. I watched video after video after video, so many that I was overwhelmed, and I just was watching so much, and I said, I have to do something. I have to make something. And once you start, you'll be glad you did, because then you can't. Well, I don't know. Then you can't stop. Okay, so it's not glued down. All right. I don't want it glued to that first page. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to take, and I got some new, what do you call these? X-Acto knives. It was a set of 3. It wasn't too expensive, but this one, I lost the cover for it, and it really, it annoys me. So and the blade doesn't stay tight anymore. So yeah, so this came with a set. It came with a blue and a purple, and I've already lost the other one. So, oh no, here it is. Black. Okay. So you could set them aside for different purposes if you want, but this is how I cut around it. I just put the blade up against the book and pull it very slowly up against that edge and straight off. Okay, put that on the side for collage, and then let's see, I'll just do it this way. Maybe you can see one side better than the other. Just go slow, because then you don't jump the track and cut your cover. And then I'll come along here. The secret with a X-Acto knife, this is not a name brand one, it's an off brand, but the secret is to go slow. Take your time. Make sure the glue is semi-dry so it doesn't pull off. And I do these corners straight across, and then I will take a nail file. Now, I didn't know this would work, but because it's like acrylic or whatever, I have these that I got from, I don't know, probably Dollar Tree. I use the 320 grit side, and so I'll just come along here, and if there's any place where I can see, then I'll just come along like that and get those corners back rounded where I cut it back straight. So you can see it's just clipped like a tag, and I'm rounding the corners with this. There you go, that's it. Nothing too difficult. And we're going to flip it and do the other side. Now, I will put this one on there. And I probably did them backwards, but it doesn't really matter. Book page is book page, right? I just want to make sure there's no cuss words or anything weird on here. Of course, that's a subjective term. What one person thinks is cussing isn't necessarily cussing for someone else, but I try to keep it off my projects just in case. I thought I'd be safe with Dickens, but I found a couple of things that were questionable that I want to skip. Alright, so I'm going to line that up on the edge, and I'm going slightly over just so that the purple or whatever color is under there doesn't show, although we are going to cover that with lace, so you can use your bone folder to work this out if you like. The Fabri-Tac is good for this because it's a glossy cover. You could sand it if you feel like you need to with whatever glue you're going to use. Let's see, I'll go this way. Like I said, just take your time and make sure you have a sharp blade. Sharp blade is the other thing that's important. See, I'm barely pushing down and it's cutting through the paper. And then I'll do the corners. Okay. And be careful, don't cut yourself when you're taking those little corners off. And then I'll come back. Oh, and make sure your orientation is right. I glued one on upside down already, so I had to cover it again. I want to make sure, see this one's, nope, not stuck, just static. Okay, so I've never seen these nail polishes or nail files before, but a friend of mine at church brought, she had a whole bunch of them, and she brought them for our table. And it takes a little longer, but it works. I think it must be a finer grit. All right, so there we go. Now, the next thing that I will do is use my walnut stain. You don't need a lot of this. You could probably do 10 of these with what's on your ink dauber already. And as much or as little as you like. Sometimes I like a little bit more on the corners, but you can always add more. Once it's on there, you're kind of stuck with it unless you cover it up. Okay. All right. Now, for the stamp, I'm using archival ink. Oh, let me put that back on my glue. For the stamp, I'm using archival ink. Now, I have ground espresso. I'll show you. I don't know if you can even tell the difference. This one is ground espresso, and this one is vintage photo. I kind of like the vintage photo better. I've always done black before, and I really like it with the black, but I wanted to try something different. So I think I'm going to go with the vintage photo. It goes well with the walnut stain. Not that the ground espresso doesn't. It's good too, but I bought this 4-pack of archival ink that I'm really enjoying. So, all right, so let's use the vintage photo. These have a really tight-fitting lid, which I love. Twist, twist, tap, tap, tap. And go. Secret is not to move it when you're putting it down. Where it goes, it goes. Leave it for 5 seconds or so, and it didn't work. Let's see if I can get it on there better. This one doesn't seem to be as juicy as the ground espresso one was. So I didn't ink it well enough, I guess. The secret of these is that you're supposed to be able to come back over it and stamp. Let's see. I might have to cover this one and do it again, but you get the idea. It may just be thicker lines. It's kind of a shadow, but I think it'll work. I think I can make it work. I may end up using black after all on account of this is, I want to see how dark the black is. We'll just do, well, I have the hickory smoke. Black soot. I think this is probably the best and why I always ended up using it. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the stamp. Maybe, you know, I haven't used these. This is the first time I'm using this set, so let me get it a little seasoned here. The first two I did were great. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because I need the padding underneath. You know, I used to do this for a living. You wouldn't know it. I don't remember having this issue before. It looks juicy. All right. I usually count to 7. There we go. That's better. So you can see the difference there. It shows up really well. And if you don't put lace on here and you keep the black, which is fine, then you might want to use the black ink. But I probably just need to be more careful with it. I haven't stamped in years, guys. If you have seen me stamp on this channel, that was the last time I stamped. So there you go. I used to do it every day, and now let's make sure nothing's glued together. Okay, let's put some lace on here. Oop, let me put my glasses back on so I can see what I'm doing, and put this blade cover on. Also, I like that it has this little textured grip, not only for your fingers, but to keep the lid on. That was the biggest issue with this one. The lid never stayed on, so that's how come I lost it. So, alright, so let's do, I am going to use Fabri-Tac again. Put some lace, just about 1/4 of an inch wide is what I usually do. And I really like it. Well, this is a double-sided lace, but I kind of like it when the little picots, is what I'm going to call them, are in the black area here. I think that's fun. So let's make sure, I'm going to have to trim that just a little bit and make sure that's mostly even. Yeah, there we go. Alright, and then I have, there again, we used these the other day on our little Post-it note wallets. I have tons of these. These are the ones that I've collected over the years, and these are the pieces parts. So these are like bigger than 5 strips. That's how I keep them. And then I keep that little tiny bag inside the big bag. And I just went to Dollar Tree the other day and bought more. It's an illness. Okay. I decided that I really like the way that this looks on this little doohickey down here. So I aim for this pearl right on the crossroads and laid it down like that. And these are pretty sticky. You could add glue if you feel like you need to, but I'm going to trim this off. There we go. And that's that. I think we recovered that one pretty good. Alright, so let's see. What was I going to sell these for? I think they are $2 each. I'll put them in a 4x6 envelope and fold it around, stick it to the back. But I will sell these for $2 each, or 3 for $5. So, and these always, like I said, sell out. Very rarely do I have any of these left. And this is a great place to use up all your little pieces of trim. Well, that one's not quite big enough, but I've got little pieces hanging out here all over my desk. So I will be making these for a few days. I'm still working on the tea for 2. I've got 6 more to make, and I've just been breaking it down. I mean, you know, my goal was to try and get them all done in July. I bought a couple of tubs, and one of them's already filled up. I accidentally bought 2 sets of 2, so I got 4 tubs, and one of them is already full, and I've got stuff in the other one. So I am getting it done. I got all those books done. Everything that I've shown you, I have gotten finished, except for the tea for 2. Because I got the little golden books done. I got the wallets done. What else did we do? All the 37 notebooks I got done. So yeah, we're having a good time. We're getting ahead, and I won't have so much to do come November to December for this. So anyway, all right, well, we will be back on Wednesday with another idea for Christmas in July. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye now.